Well, hello everyone and welcome to Momentum channel. My name is Mo, and in this video, I want to walk you through my stock market investment portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade. I'm going to show you transparently what have been the stocks that I've bought so far this month and what have been the stocks that I've actually sold in this month. I will also go through each and every position that I have within my accounts and put it out there in terms of how many shares I have, what have been my stock returns so far, and a little bit of my game plan when it comes to managing my stock portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade. Let's get into it. All right, so as you notice here on our Wealthsimple Trade account, we have a number of different accounts. We have a personal non-registered account. We have a registered retirement savings plan, RRSP, and a tax-free savings account. Most recently, I also opened a cryptocurrency account, and I only deposited $100 in it and started buying gradually Bitcoin, and right now it's sitting at 110. But that's not the purpose of this video. We'll instead go over the other three accounts. You notice that I do have a large number of positions within my active investing portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade. Really, one of the things that this year I am focusing on is trimming my positions and focusing on a handful number of quality stocks or exchange traded funds that I want to invest in. When it comes to stocks, I don't mind perhaps having closer to 10 to 12 different stocks in my portfolio. But as for exchange traded funds, I'm a little bit okay with that. So I wouldn't really mind if I have higher number of exchange traded funds and various ones in my portfolio. That's not really my concern. But before I walk you through the specific positions, let me first show you what have been the stocks that I bought or sold so far this month. All right, so let's start from the beginning of February. So back in January, late January, I bought one share of AMC. I just kind of got tempted and decided I want to buy one shares. I bought that share at the price of $12 US. But luckily, I managed to actually exit that position in a timely manner, and I managed to sell that share for the price of $14.50 USD. So I made a little bit of profit on that. I had bought a few shares of 𝗖𝐋𝐈𝐖 at the time that it was a lot cheaper. I believe I bought it closer to $6 or $7 and managed to sell it. That actually one share managed to sell it at the price of $15. So again, $15 USD. That's a gain for me there. I bought one share of real, which is a company providing technological services for lenders and insurance companies, and I bought that share for the price of $17.20. I also managed to buy one more share of Qualcomm to add to my existing position of Qualcomm. I bought that for the price of $147.45 USD. Qualcomm shares had really declined on that one day. I think they had a drop of around 7 to 8% after they announced their earnings, so I wanted to add to my existing Qualcomm shares. I finally managed to sell my Fastly shares. I had them for a while. My average price, I believe, was closer to 80 to 85 US, and I had a limit price to sell them today at the price of $112.80. So that was a nice gain here. Also today, got finally rid of all my Virgin Galactic sales shares. I had 9 shares of SPCE, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was showing almost 185% gain or something like that. So decided that finally I want to sell those shares, really focus on a number of other companies instead. So it was a good gain, sold them at the price of $54.50. And lastly, I bought today one share of XRE. I added, in fact, one more share to my existing shares of XRE for the price of $16.39. And XRE is the iShares S&P TSX capped REIT index ETF from BlackRock, and it's currently actually showing a yield of about 3%. It consists of a number of various quality real estate investment trusts here in Canada. In fact, if to be exact, it has 22 holdings underneath that, and you can see here a list of the top major holdings in there, and it is showing a medium risk. So those were all my purchases in terms of the stocks in the month of February, as well as any stocks that I sold. So with that out of the way, now let's dive into the various portfolios here and look at our positions. If you look at our personal account, which is showing a 44.88% return overall, so our 1-year return is showing to be currently at 40%. I would say it's very decent return for 1 year. Okay, let us take a close look at the holdings here. You'd notice here we have 6 shares of Apple, which is showing the return of 17.9%. We have 57 shares of Air Canada, showing a return of 10.6%. We have 6 shares of Bristol Myers, showing a return of 21.4%. Bank of Nova Scotia, we have 11 shares of that, showing a return of 14.7%. Salesforce is another company that we have. We have 3 shares of that, showing a return of 16.7%. Corsair Gaming, we have 5 shares of that, showing a return of 18.8%. We also have a number of Emerge exchange traded funds here. We have EAFT, or Emerge Arc FinTech Innovation ETF. We have 1 share, and we fairly recently bought them. I believe I bought these shares in January. It is showing already a return of 17.7%, 75%. EAGB, or Emerge Arc Genomics and Biotech ETF. We have 2 shares. It is showing a return of 9.4%. We have 1 more ETF from Emerge, EARK, Emerge Arc Global Disruptive Innovation ETF. That 1 share is showing a return of 19.8%. We have Gilead Sciences, which is a pharmaceutical company. Our 4 shares are showing a return of 6.8%. It's the dividend-paying company. We used to have 7 shares of Jet Global Crossing Airline Group. It's a very small airline company that I don't believe it's yet operational. We bought them a long time ago. They went through some sort of reverse split, and currently we have 7 shares. It is showing a negative 25.86% return. It actually was up quite a bit today. So my strategy with this one is trying to dollar cost average and gradually add more shares so I can bring my average cost down. Laurentian Bank is one of my holdings that I've had for a long time. I have 22 shares of them, and currently it's showing a negative 3.97%. They are a dividend-paying company, so that's at least is a positive sign when it comes to that bank. Norwegian Cruise Lines Holdings, NCLH, we have 12 shares showing a decent return of 44.9%. Pfizer is a pharmaceutical company. We have 20 shares of that showing a return of 7.86%. Qualcomm is another semiconductor company that I indicated earlier. We added 1 share. So currently we have a total of 6 shares with a return of 24.6%. Royalty Pharma is a dividend payer company, and we have 28 shares of them with a return of 7.12%. Royal Bank of Canada is one of the major banks in Canada. We have 4 shares showing a return of 10.7%. TD, or Toronto Dominion Bank, another major bank in Canada. We have only 5 shares. Nonetheless, it's showing a return of 13.98%, and it actually does pay a dividend too. We have Vanguard FTSE Canadian Capped REIT Index, another REIT Index ETF. Here we have 7 shares, and it's showing a return of 5.66%. Now, I know I had received some comments from many of our viewers last time suggesting that maybe there's not a need for me to maintain 2 REIT Index ETF from Canadian, which are somewhat similar, one from BlackRock and one from Vanguard. And I actually totally agree with that notion and acknowledge that. The thing is, I'm trying to actually sell off one of those at a price that I'm comfortable with. So I've already put a limit sell order for one of them. And once that's is actually met, that price is met and fulfilled, then actually my position would be let go of, and I can then use that money to invest in the other one instead. Verizon is a dividend paying company in communication sector. We have 7 shares, and it's showing currently a return of negative 1.30%. XDV, or BlackRock Canada iShares Canadian Select Dividend Index ETF. I really like this one. And if you look at XDV, year-to-date return has been positive 3.38%, and they have a dividend yield currently sitting at 4.28%. So quite decent. And in terms of their holdings, if I scroll down, you'd notice that the holdings consist of a lot of various reputable Canadian companies, dividend-paying companies, including Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Canadian Tire, Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank of Canada, Bank of Nova Scotia, TD Bank, National Bank of Canada, a lot of banks, but also BCE, TC Energy, and so on. Moving on, we also have 3 shares of XIT, which is BlackRock Canada iShares S&P TSX Cap Information Technology Index. So this is focusing on companies that are in information technology sector here in Canada for the Canadian companies. It is showing a very decent return of 31.44%. Right. If we switch back to our TFSA account, you'd see that currently it is showing a 1-month return of 5%, but the 1-year return has been a decent 29% return. Let us take a close look at the portfolio here and what stocks or exchange traded funds we own here. We have 1 shares of Apple showing a return of 23.51, 4 shares of AbbVie, return of 47.6%. Bionano Genomics, I bought 2 shares of those, and it is showing a massive return of 121.22%. Beyond Meat, I bought 1 share at the time that stock price had gone quite down, and it is showing a decent return of 46.48%. CARS is one of the exchange traded funds that I own. It's a Canadian one, and it invests in automobile innovation companies. It's an index fund hedged for Canadian dollars. I have 3 shares of that, and I bought recently those shares in January, and it's showing a return of 6.73%. Carnival Cruise Corporation, CCL, you have 26 shares of that, and it's showing a return of positive 42%. CrowdStrike, we have 1 share, and it's showing a decent 128%. Dye & Durham Limited is a Canadian company. We own 2 shares of that, and it's showing a return of positive 16.77%. I used to have more shares of Dye & Durham, but I sold them at a gain. But recently, after the price declined, I added more shares, and this is again strategy with D&D. Most likely, after it hits certain levels, I would sell those shares in my tax-free savings account. We have 2 shares of EAAI or Emerge Arc AI and Big Data ETF. It's a Canadian one, and here we have a return of 10.51%. We bought 2 shares of EAGB or Emerge Arc Genomics and Biotech ETF in our TFSA, similar to our personal accounts. Here is showing a return of 4.07%. Facebook is one of my holdings here that I've had for a long time. I have 1 share, and that 1 share has gone up and down, and at the moment it's showing 29% gain. Greener Renewables is one of the stocks in the clean energy field. They actually are specialized in the renewable natural gas. It's a Canadian company. I have 71 shares of them, and it is showing a positive return of 3.31%. It is a penny stock, and we had made a video on that. If you haven't checked that video, be sure to do so. I'll add a link to the cards as well as the description of the video. Hyliion is another company active in the EV sector, and we have 2 shares showing a negative return of 6.56%. Manulife Financial, we have 7 shares showing a positive return of 16.85%. Norwegian Cruise Lines, we have 7 shares in our tax-free savings account showing a positive return of 54%. NEO, we own 5 shares and it's showing a negative 5.74%. PIMCO Dynamic Income Fund, they are a decent dividend payer. We have 6 shares and it's showing a positive return of 1.38%. Plug Power, we have 3 shares. It is showing a positive return of 4.66%. Rio Matter is one of the stocks that I've recently acquired. I have 1 share and it's showing a positive return of 3.95%. As I showed, it's one of the stocks that I bought earlier this month. RioCan, we have 3 shares showing a positive return of 20%. Store Capital is a US nice dividend paying stocks, and we have 2 shares showing a positive return of 15%. TNT or True North Commercial Real Estate is a REIT in Canada. Our 2 shares are showing a return of 9.68%. Vanguard FTSE Canada All Cap Index ETF, we have 1 share and it's showing a decent return of 29.40%. VMware is another stock. We have 3 shares of those showing a positive return of 9.21%. Vanguard FTSE Canadian Cap REIT Index ETF, we have 5 shares showing a return of 3.85%. Vaxart is one of the stocks that I talked to you about earlier. I had bought it at a much cheaper price and then sold at a nice gain, but then I had a limit by order and it actually got fulfilled. And so ended up owning this 1 share now, and it's showing a negative return of 7.23%. And lastly, we have XIT or BlackRock Canada iShares TSX capped information tech ETF. Here, this one share is showing a positive return of 8.64%. Lastly, if you move on and scroll to our registered retired savings plan account, here we have a much smaller number of stocks, but it is showing a 1-year return of 95%. In fact, I haven't added much more money to my RSP account, given the fact that I've kind of maxed out my RSP, just waiting for post March deadline to be able to add more funds to my registered retired savings plan. Okay, so here we have 3 shares of AbbVie showing a return of 22+%. 4 shares of RRSP Real Estate Investment, which pays dividend, is showing a positive return of 55.92%. Carnival Cruise, we have 1 share, and that 1 share is showing a 61% return. Morguard North American Residential Real Estate is a REIT account that 5 shares are showing us 1.67%. PIMCO Dynamic, we have 1 share with a return of positive 40%. Skyworks Solution, 1 share with a positive return of 42%. And ViaMed Healthcare, we have 11 shares showing a positive return of 6.66%. There you go, folks, a quick overview of the stocks and exchange-traded funds that I have in my Wealthsimple Trade stock investment portfolio. Do you own any of these shares in your own portfolio? What is your best performing stock or exchange-traded fund that you currently have? I would love to hear from you. Be sure to leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. I hope you found this video beneficial and gained something of value from it. If you are new to investing and haven't really got started with active investing, you might consider using the referral link that is in the description of the video. If you do use that to sign up with Wealthsimple Trade, both of us at this time are going to get a bonus of $25. So that's a nice way of getting some extra cash if you haven't already signed up with Wealthsimple Trade. If you are interested in more of a passive investing, Wealthsimple also offers a Wealthsimple Invest account. And there's a referral link at the bottom of this video in the description. And if you do use that referral link, your first deposits to Wealthsimple Invest for up to $10,000 would be exempt from any fee from Wealthsimple. They typically charge a 0.5% fee, but that fee would be waived for the first year up to $10,000 if you use the referral link. So a good way for you to get started, and also a nice way for you to help us support the channel. It really means a lot to us. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from the video. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Momentum channel. As you see here, we talk about various topics, including stock market investing, including both Canadian and US stocks. We talk about finances and financial education. I do hope that you are going to join us here on Momentum, and I hope to see you next time on another Momentum video. Cheers.